Okay, 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 stream, okay.
The leads are broke. You just don't understand. They don't have the money. They have fear. They just want to do it later. Look, my first year in sales.
No, I
Have
don't know
you
what
ever
that is. Well, I spent like 30, what that is, for the first 2 minutes eating. Well, what? Give me, because I'm hungry. I ain't hungry, but I'm, I'm straight, you hear me? I'm straight, you hear me? Um, yeah, most haunted houses. Wait, they say 15 most haunted houses on Earth. Let's see. Let's see, bro.
Sat at home alone when suddenly you feel a presence around you? Have you ever heard something go bump in the night? No matter whether you believe in the paranormal or not, we've all experienced things that we can't explain. It's time to make sure your lights are switched on, because here are the 15 most haunted houses on Earth. Number 15, the Sally House, Kansas. Built in the mid-1800s in Atchison, Kansas, from the outside, the notorious Sally House looks like any other. It is, however, considered to be one of the most haunted houses in the U.S. And while it's possible to stay there overnight,
Overnight.
all guests have to
Boy, hold on.
sign a waiver upon entry to take responsibility for any injuries they may suffer while on the property.
Dang. Bro, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna say this on stream. Oh boy. Am I gonna regret this later? I don't know. But I do an overnight stream, like I say like later. Later on, like I guess when I get I guess when I get mm, once I get what? Then we gotta make it like how can I once I get 1 million followers on IG. I would do an overnight stream at a haunted house, like a real haunted house. An overnight stream. I do it. Not by myself though. Not by myself. But I do it though. No cap. Yep.
The home once belonged to the town's doctor and was where he treated all of his patients. One day, the mother of 6-year-old Sally rushed in with her daughter in her arms after she had collapsed with abdominal pains. The doctor knew straight away that this was a case of appendicitis and that he'd have to operate quickly to prevent the organ from bursting inside her body. There was just enough time to give her some painkillers, but not enough to let them fully take effect. So as the surgery began, the house was filled with chilling screams from the girl. Unfortunately, the procedure failed, and Sally died on the operating table, with her final thought being of this evil man who she believed was torturing her. More than 100 years later, in 1993, a couple moved into the house and soon began experiencing weird events that appeared to prove that the spirit of Sally has been trapped there.
Oh, I might not do that. Yeah, I might not do no haunted house stream. Yeah, I don't think I want to.
Strange cold spots, unexplained fires, and mysterious attacks on the husband became common, as did technical malfunctions, objects seemingly moving on their own, and animals refusing to enter some of the rooms.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Number 14.
Imagine being able to build anything just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete AI creation platform.
Château du Brézac, France. Château du Brézac is a stunning building that was first constructed in Maine-et-Loire in France in the 11th century as a castle. With 7 stories, it's the tallest in France and has become a residence as well as a film set in subsequent years. But with so much history and gruesome events that took place within these walls, it's perhaps no surprise that many believe the place to be haunted. There are several ghosts that are reported by guests, the most common one being the Green Lady, said to be the specter of an illegitimate
What the
daughter of King Charles VII. She was supposedly murdered in the chateau by her husband, who had caught her having an affair. To this day, she's said to walk around the chapel and the rooms next to it, completely covered in a green dress and veil.
I wouldn't dare go in there. I wouldn't dare go in there. You got
With holes where her eyes and mouth should be. Her moans and cries can be heard echoing out across the entire building on quiet nights, which has resulted in the chateau becoming a very popular destination for ghost hunters and those wanting to test their bravery by staying overnight in one of the lavish rooms that retain all of their original historical features. Number 13.
hearing the
Hofti House, Iceland. The story behind the Hofti House
bro.
in Reykjavik, Iceland, is a strange one because it was not only the site of an incredibly important historic event, but it's also been linked with tales of hauntings that have taken far more seriously than most. Built in 1909, it had several famous inhabitants, such as the French consul at the time, and subsequently Einar Ben, an Icelandic poet. During the 40s and 50s, it was the location of the British consulate in the city, and then in 1986 it was the location of the Reykjavik Summit, which was a meeting between President Ronald Reagan and Mikhail Gorbachev, which paved the way towards the end of the Cold War. It was during this time as the British Embassy that it was first recognized as a mysterious place, however, with stories of ghosts.
Why the fuck? Why is the music like that? Who's that behind him?
And strange happenings taking place.
Oh, never mind. Cause I just like, he just
According
got a
to
weird
local
shaped leaf.
legend, it's haunted by the spirit of a young girl, although no one is
This
sure
house?
who she is,
That look like the Jeepers Creeper.
except for
Not Jeepers Creepers. That look like the what's this dude's name? The Beetlejuice house.
the fact that she could be linked to the Viking burial ground that's supposedly beneath the property. The British representative who lived there, John Greenway, became so perturbed by the odd sounds through the night and paranormal events that he wrote to the British government to insist that the consulate was moved elsewhere. And his account was so compelling that later they sold the house back to the Icelandic government just a few weeks later. Even to this day, the official response to questions about the house is, "We do not confirm or deny that the Hofti has a ghost." Number 12, the House of Death, New York. New York has
Now,
a
who the hell will go to that?
number of properties that are believed to be haunted, but the most famous of them all is the ominously named House of Death in Greenwich Village. Built in 1856, to begin with, it was a popular place with the rich, becoming home to the family of a railroad tycoon. They eventually moved out in the 1980s, though, and since then the house became associated with strange happenings. In 1897, the new owner, a famous cyclist, experienced a moment of recklessness where he hit a young boy while riding and was subsequently arrested. He soon moved out of the house, and the next resident was none other than Mark Twain, who
Heard of Mark Twain.
also wrote of paranormal experiences, such as floating pieces of wood and peculiar sensations. Later residents
Wait. Peculiar sensations. Whole.
reported
Just shut my
seeing
mouth.
ghoulish shadows, visions, and strange noises. And then in 1987, something terrible happened. A
What?
young girl was killed there with repeated blows to her head, and the police that attended the scene reported eerie happenings and strange behaviors by everyone present. The parents were arrested and convicted, with drugs blamed for their actions.
What's wrong with her?
But there has always been the suspicion that the strange aura of the house may have influenced their behavior, with strange events also reported in the neighboring homes. Is it possible that the dark shadow surrounding this house is now spreading?